Because of the pandemic, we are all doing nearly everything you can think of, just a little bit differently. Now, from traveling to shopping to a lot of people working at home. And some older workers are just calling it quits altogether because of the pandemic.
Now, according to the Schwartz Center, nearly 2 million older Americans have left the labor force altogether since the beginning of the pandemic. And according to the National Institute for Retirement Security, more than a quarter of all workers say COVID has prompted them to move up their retirement date.
And you know what? That was the case with Kathy DeFrancesco. Have a look. Kathy taught special ed in Washoe County schools for 28 years. And when COVID hit, she didn't get sick, but she sure did get frustrated.
So everything for the last 3 months had to be done with Zoom meetings, and it was very, very difficult trying to schedule parents, teachers, admin, specialists. Sometimes my internet went out because I live way out in Rancho Haven. You had to get all your kids together and try to do Zoom lessons. And at the very beginning, parents didn't know how to get online. Some parents didn't even have computers. So it was very difficult.
She was just a year from her planned retirement when the idea struck.
So I just said, you know what, let me just figure out the finances. Maybe I can just retire.
She did the math to cut her budget by $1,000 a month, and she took the district's early retirement incentive.
So I took that, and I paid off my car and my credit cards.
And she refinanced her house.
That took $200 off my mortgage. And now I do a little bit of pet sitting to make a little extra money.
Yeah.
So I just did it.
And you know what? She's not alone.
COVID has changed the world in so many different ways.
Chris Abst has seen a lot of changes over the 30 years he's been a financial advisor. He says that COVID has led a lot of people to reassess their situations.
A lot of times people look and say, wow, I actually can afford to retire. I don't have to go back to work. Then the question is, once they know that's the case, they ask the question, do I want to go back to work? Is it giving me some type of enjoyment, some type of fulfillment? And if the answer is no, well, it would be reasonable for that person to say, I don't want to go back to work.
The first step is figuring out how much money you have and how much you'll need, just like Kathy did. You really need to understand your assets and your commitments. And even though the stock market and housing prices are up right now, you also need to anticipate what's coming down the road.
And then you want to understand, how much risk are you taking? Is it in line with your risk tolerance? And are you earning an appropriate return for that? And in doing so, you're asking the question, is there something I can do differently? Is there something that I can do better so when the market does have a correction, you know what's going to happen, you're okay, and you don't throw your financial security out the window.
But just look at the payoff. Kathy now spends her days with her beloved dogs and her horse and focusing on fitness.
My true passion right now is I joined Crunch Fitness, the gym, and I take 6 classes a week, and I love it.
Plus, she kayaks, bikes, hikes, and shoots with friends. And now she actually has time to work on art she's never had the time to try. It wasn't instantaneous, but she has made the transition to full retirement mode.
It took me a while to get to the point where I could sleep without stress, not think about school. It was an adjustment at first.
And while she has scaled things back financially, she says her life is fuller overall.
Everything I do is because I want to.
And for her, it's been worth every penny she's cut to make it happen.
I love being retired. Oh, it was totally worth it. I recommend it to anyone who's close.
Yeah.
Find a way to make it work.
Now, that was the right decision for Kathy, but as you just saw, she spent a lot of time making sure that it would actually work.
And I really like how she sought help, figuring out that her finances were in the right place, that she was in the right place, and it might seem overwhelming at first, but it's able to be accomplished. It was a great story, Breen. Thank you so much. Well, you saw Chris Abst there in the show. You can catch his TV show. It's right here on 2 News, Redefining Retirement on KTVN tomorrow and every Sunday at 5:30.